Hi everyone, so today I'll be doing a review on the ScentWorx by Slatkin & Co. 14.5 ounce 3-wick candle in the scent Candy Corn. This candle was made in the Dominican Republic. My particular batch code lists L2-02-04-2125-1D. So I believe that the pour date is April 21st, 2025. I have only seen this candle at CVS, so I don't know if it's a CVS exclusive, but that's where I purchased mine. In stores, this candle is more expensive. It's like $16.49. I think that also depends on the area. I live in Los Angeles and there's always, for some reason, like a price increase or like a little like surcharge for that. However, online, the retail price was $15.99. I paid after coupons and extra bucks, $9.55. A little spoiler, but I wouldn't pay $5 for this candle, maybe not even $3. The packaging, I really enjoyed. However, if you've ever seen an older made in the USA ScentWorx by Slatkin & Co. 3-wick candle, I much prefer the old style. I feel like this revamp is more of a glow down instead of a glow up, especially the lid. The lid in this packaging, it feels like a very cheap tin lid. And also because the glass vessel, it still retained its like octagon shape. However, there's a little lip at the top, so I feel like that prevents some of the scent from dispersing. I do enjoy that it has colored wax. The one here is this nice deep orange color to mimic one of the colors of candy corn or maybe pumpkin. However, my label, I do have to say, this is not a full wraparound label, and it's only covering maybe about 40% of the candle in the front. It's off-centered and there's air bubbles in it. So quality control can use a bit of an improvement. I do enjoy that the fragrance notes are listed at the bottom. But okay, let me talk about this fragrance. I thought this was going to be a true, authentic candy corn scent, and sadly, it is not. I had a feeling when I picked it up from CVS that it wasn't, because it did smell a bit light. So strength on cold, 5 out of 10. But if you are familiar with the older ScentWorx made in the USA candles, I believe this is a repackage of an older fragrance called Pumpkin Candy Corn. However, with the old name, you kind of knew that it wasn't going to be a legit candy corn scent. This one, it made me think it could have been a new one, but I still wanted to go ahead and burn it. So it smells a little bit more like the DW Home candy corn fragrances that can lean a little bit like butterscotch, like maple syrup. So it's not like how, at least in my opinion, a true authentic candy corn scent has a heavier emphasis on like a buttercream honey mixture. It is a bit light, so I have a feeling that that's why they wanted to include other notes such as like a syrupy pumpkin note as well as added maple. And that's the main note that I get. I mainly pick up on the maple syrup. The caramel is also there. I don't pick up too much on the corn aspect of it, but I think the maple and the caramel corn are just making this overall a very syrupy fragrance. The powdered sugar, not so much. And the candied pumpkin, I would say that's accurate. That'd probably be the second note that I pick up. I think that my main issue with this fragrance is that ScentWorx changed the name from pumpkin candy corn to just candy corn. So in my mind, I thought this was going to smell like an authentic bag of candy corn, which sadly it is not, because again, you're getting all these other notes like pumpkin, caramel corn, maple syrup that you wouldn't normally, if ever, find in candy corn, like a bag of candy corn. I think I skipped this part, but the wicks are very thick. So I would recommend trimming this before the first burn. At least that's what I did. And to go a little bit more into detail, I would say that this reads more like true pumpkin on cold. It leans more candied when you go to burn it. But on cold, I get more of this like fresh pumpkin that is not cooked or baked into a pie, for example. But let me go ahead and talk about my burn experience. So during my first burn, I would give it around a 7.5 out of 10. And initially during that first burn, it just smelled like your typical fall candle. And I'm sad to say this smelled like a cheaper grocery store candle. I don't know what's up with that retail price of $15.99, let alone $16.49, but I wouldn't pay either of those prices. That's just way too expensive, and I don't think it's worth that amount. But going back, it wasn't too spicy, but it wasn't foody as well. It was just your mainstream fall scent. Disappointed if you're looking for authentic candy corn. And it pulled out within 45 minutes, and that's been the case since then. Sometimes it even pulls out within 30 minutes, and you can smell the candle around minute 20. It filled up my medium-sized bedroom, but the fragrance I didn't really care for. Very basic. The projection during that first burn, I would give it around a 7 out of 10 in my medium-sized bedroom. Let me show you an overhead view and talk about why I will not be purchasing this candle, and if there was a return policy, I would be returning this candle to the store. All right, so here's an overhead view of my candle. If you can see there, I have a nice even wax pull, no issues with this candle pulling out. And despite the fact that I trimmed my wicks a little bit more aggressively, my flames are medium to medium strong, and that is because this candle tends to burn hot, and I think it's because of that thicker wick that is used. It also, the vessel itself is made out of some pretty thick glass, or maybe fake glass. So when I go ahead and try to move the candle, I have slightly like burned myself a little bit because it does retain a lot of heat. So just be aware of that if in case you're not burning it in a candle holder or have this on top of a candle riser, for example. You can also see some very minor wick residue in the wax. So after I extinguish the flames and this resolidifies, there is a slight wax discoloration from the part that was liquefied at one point to the part that hasn't. Is that changing the scent? Maybe like minorly, but I haven't noticed a big difference. But okay, let me go on to my issue with this candle. And that is that I feel like I can only have this candle burning for about an hour to an hour and a half. Why, you ask? Because when I first burned this, I wouldn't say that I like the fragrance, but it's an okay fragrance. I get a little bit of pumpkin, and I mainly get like this syrupy note mixed in with a little bit of spices. What type of spices? I'm not sure. It's just your basic fall spices. But then afterwards, when I get onto hour 2, there is this burnt, scorched smell that pushes away the syrupy note that I'm like okay with, and it just overtakes the fragrance. If you've ever burned HomeWorx candles, this may have happened to you in the past, where you light the fragrance, okay, it's all right, and then it just starts turning scorched, burnt, smoky. Like you walk out of the room that you have this, what do you call it, burning in, you walk back in and you're like, ooh, is something burning in here? Oh no, wait, it's the candle. And that's my main issue with it, is that if I have this burning for an hour to an hour and a half, it's okay. I mean, the scent's all right. It's not candy corn, but it's not burn. And then that's my main issue, is that I don't like having candles where I'm limited in my burn time. Normally, candles list to not have it burning more than like 3 or 4 hours, but I can't even get to hour 2 because if not, I'm getting this like off-putting scent. Funny story, my sister really dislikes this candle because I had this burning in her office to test it out. And as soon as she turned the corner, she could smell this like smoky scent. That's how she described it. And I think that that smoky scent that starts becoming more and more apparent the longer that you burn it for, really, I guess it's kind of like that scent just completely overtakes any type of like caramel corn, maple syrup, candied pumpkin. That's the main thing that you're getting. So right now, after I'm done burning this, I'm going to go ahead and warm it instead, just because I don't care for this fragrance when I have it burning. And I don't like having, I guess, restrictions in how often or how long I can have this burning for. Of course, always adhere to the recommended burn time listed. But if I can't even burn this for like an hour without it changing, then this isn't the candle for me. So overall, I would have to say that this candle is not a repurchase, and I would not recommend it. I don't think I'm going to purchase any more ScentWorx candles. Maybe I will purchase some of the Made in the USA ScentWorx candles at my local like Ross, that sometimes random older stock pops up, but definitely not this quote unquote revamped version. Let me go ahead and show you the wax pull. Ooh, it is a little bit hot. So I do have, I would say maybe like ½ an inch. The wax pull doesn't get too deep, but because it gets really hot, I have no real cling-on wax, no real soot. But then again, since I have that issue with that scorched, smoky smell, I really have been limiting my burn. And can you see how off-center this is? It's very close to this side of the side of the octagon is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, unfortunately, this wasn't the authentic candy corn scent that I was looking for. I probably should have returned it when I smelled it on cold after picking it up from CVS. But yeah, just proceed with caution with this candle. Let me know if you've had a better burn experience or if you didn't run across or run into that whole smoke smell that I personally got. But yeah, overall, wouldn't recommend. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you have a great day. Okay, bye.